released in 2023. Calling this unlicensed 1/6 scale Alice figure by LongShan Heavy Industries a rare treat would be an understatement. For some context, the Alice video game series is a gloomy and twisted take on Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Despite the success garnered by both the series debut in 2000 and its 2011 sequel, Alice: Madness Returns, from which this figure is based, franchise publisher and IP holder Electronic Arts had rejected any and all attempts for development of a third installment, which was going to be called Alice Asylum, thus causing series creator American McGee to leave the gaming industry entirely. With the future of this line in shambles, it's nothing short of a miracle that a studio would even consider stepping in and provide an Alice figure that nobody expected. The likeness has been a point of contention since the prototype. I'd say they nailed Alice's slightly goth makeup, her long dark hair parted at the middle, and especially her creepy stare. But in proportions to her appearance in Madness Returns, her face is a bit too round and short, and her eyes are noticeably too big. Personally though, these didn't bother me a whole lot, but that's only because I'm so used to Alice's in-game model from her debut title, plus a variety of design materials outside of the game, all of which look a lot like this head sculpt. One upside to these huge eyes is the extra room for details. The irises, for instance, are highly reflective, thus giving the portrait a lot of life. The hair is smooth and wavy, and are beautifully rooted to a painted scalp, which in turn is held to the faceplate seamlessly by a magnet. Though you still need a fair bit of diligence as to not tangle the hair strands. Working with the hairpiece is surprisingly not as messy as I thought. LongShan also provided a peg extension for tweaking the eyes, but sadly they're blocked by the neck peg, so I'd recommend tugging gently with a pair of tweezers instead. The costume looks great at a glance, but it's actually here where most of the inaccuracies for this release are found. So here we go. The Omega necklace, for instance, isn't silver like it was in every game. The string is also a bit unruly, so I ended up tugging it by accident when straightening the hair. The dress isn't as long as it should be, and I think the weathering is just a tad too much, but otherwise it looks nice and shimmery. The puffy sleeves maintain their shape fairly well, and although these black trims aren't in the game at all, they do look pretty good here. The pockets on the apron are functional, but the era symbol is upside down for some reason, and the bloodstains are barely even visible on my copy. The skull on the bow is called Hollow Eve, but it doesn't have that slightly elongated shape. It's as if LongShan is purposely missing the mark every here and there, just because it's an unlicensed release. Again, the black ornate design shouldn't be here, but at least the white lace edges are somewhat accurate. There's also an inner layer to the dress that's made of a sheer, crunchy fabric, as opposed to a soft, flowing white layer like in the game. But when combined with the wired lining on the outer dress, getting Alice into a gliding pose looks remarkably good. These striped stockings are supposed to go all the way up the dress, but they just end here on the upper thighs. The stripes also go out of alignment on the back for my copy. And to top it all off, Alice's knee-high boots are supposed to have a ton of silver buckles with straps protruding from each side, but LongShan just opted for a laced-up version instead, perhaps because it's more cost-effective since they're made of leather. On the plus side, even with the stockings and boots, the silhouette of the legs are still nicely tapered. And on that topic, let's get something out of the way. The Tim Burton-esque body proportions in these Alice games had always been stylistically unrealistic. As such, the off-the-shelf TB League seamless bodies used in this release were never going to be 100% accurate. Now, despite the heavy themes explored in Madness Returns, Alice's portrayal was never really sexualized, and it's a choice from which LongShan had deviated, because these boobs are a few sizes too big, and it seems deliberate too, as the material for this part of the dress is very thin, so the pokies are readily apparent. This just boggles my mind, because they otherwise did pick a skinny body to stay true to the game. But either ways, the articulations are typical of that brilliant TB League standard, with the exception of the ankles, which are made very soft by the tension of these leather boots. Luckily, the accessories do take this release up a notch. First is the weapon worthy of a cover photo, the 4-pole blade. It's made entirely of copper, and it goes snicker-snack. The engraving and paint app are nothing to scoff at, but do be careful, as the paint could transfer from the handle. Oh, and the hands are actually just the default set provided by TB League. Then come the Deluxe Edition accessories, which is kind of a misnomer because as far as I'm aware, the Deluxe Edition is the only edition for this release. But that's hardly a complaint, as it comes with the smashing hit that is the Hobby Horse. It's the upgraded level 4 version no less, and the details are discernible down to the reins. Sadly, I'm not sure what it's made of. It's slightly cold to the touch but isn't overly heavy. Next is a hefty display base. The checkered flooring is a great callback to the chess motif in the Alice novels. The regal sides are adorned with 4 menacing teddy bears, each sporting a playing card suit and a unique design. The floor piece sits somewhat snugly on the hollow base. Then we have a downed ruin-type enemy, though the large round head also reminds me of the doll-type enemies in the final chapter. Regardless, the paint app here is superb, and the black goop is shaped to hug along the edge of the base. And finally, we have the dearly beloved Cheshire Cat. The sculpting and likeness are also astounding, with an actual ear piercing and a torso that's flawlessly joined to the limbs and tail, all of which are made with the same level of attention and care. Though his stature is rather small, resembling more of his size in American McGee's Alice than does the sequel. Then again, not a complaint, because as Alice said, he's got quite mangy, but the grin's a comfort. If you've been with this channel a while, you'd know I'm usually a stickler about figure heights, but I'd make an exception this time. Artistic proportions aside, Alice's height was never specified. She looked moderately petite in the game, so I do wish the figure is slightly shorter. But even at roughly around 11.5 inches, this Alice will fit into your 6-scale collection just fine. Honestly though, I'm just happy she isn't overly tall like a certain Final Fantasy Mako junkie. Go to sleep, VTS Cloud, you're drunk. So there you have it, the 1/6 scale Alice Little by LongShan Heavy Industries. Now credit where it's due, this figure was delivered almost exactly as promised in the promo pics. And as a longtime fan of the games, I'm beyond delighted that this release is even real, in spite of the many inaccuracies showcased in this video. With the franchise now in development hell, this piece will easily take center stage of the near non-existent Alice collectibles out there.